on a clinic. The
Savagery.
knight next to the king is so hard to deal with when you're the queen because it's just constantly guarding every critical check you want to make.
Absolute savagery, and this is where, I mean, you just cannot lose games like this if you expect to stay in the match. I mean, it was again a 2-result game, and again, Fabio gets overambitious, and then again, he panics in time pressure.
But then again, we have to give credit to Magnus for why, right? I mean, Fabio pushed because he's down in the match. He has a queen. He has to push there. But the dynamic of the rook and knight, we said they had to coordinate well to hold with the queen, and that was about as optimal coordination as we've seen maybe since Carlsen's victory over Jan Nepomniachtchi in a similar endgame. Of course, the pass pawn was on the king's side over there. But my word.
And honestly, this is why Magnus is the GOAT. Everybody at the top level can play a brilliant game at their peak, but it's these kind of gritty games that Magnus always seems to pull out, which is just perhaps even more impressive, Danny, just the way that he adapts himself to the demands of the position, and the way he handles those equal positions and squeezes out every single chance. Alexander Alekhine said you have to beat him 3 times, opening, middle game, end game. It almost feels like you have to beat Magnus Carlsen 7 or 8 times to actually win the game.
Yep. Oh, man. Indeed. I'm so impressed by the coordination. I want to go over that game with the rook and knight outplaying the queen like 10 times to learn something. I mean, that was just so impressive to see two pieces that aren't known for their coordination when play is on both sides of the board. They're not known for keeping up in an open board game on the diagonals. They literally don't move on diagonals very good. Talk about the school for the rook and knight for kids who don't move on diagonals good, you know. But he does it.
Us.
Look at this.
Town population us. Look, another exchange sack. Now Carlsen's just toying with him, just playing with his food here.
He's got it. He's got a compensation for the exchange. That A pawn is a calf who's wandered a little too far from home. Gonna rope it back soon here. Queen A8. He highlighted it. He played it before I can highlight it.
Mm-hmm.
But even if the queens come off, Black is actually in good shape here with the exchange sack.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the pawn phalanx on the queen side, and actually, Black might want an endgame here. White might be the one who wants to keep the queens on the board to give himself at least some attacking chances, but Caruana's worse again. I mean, he's just slipping. This is starting to get away from him completely now.
Yeah. If you put the knight on D7, okay, he goes knight E4, aggressive stuff.
Yeah, knight E4, bishop D4. Maybe he wants B5.
Yeah. Not maybe,
F3.
Baby.
But F3, the knight just goes back to F6, and the bishop on E7 doing a phenomenal job just protecting both knights, actually.
Yep. Stellar defensive effort there.
And I want to point out another thing, Danny. F3, knight F6, queen C2. Knight C5 takes A6. And look at the placement of the queen on A8, how it guards the only weakness in the position. Just artistry from Magnus Carlsen in terms of how he positions his pieces.
Again, agreed town. We got to come up with a new way to say this. We're starting to complete each other's
sandwiches. Aw. So cute. So wholesome.
Oh, knight E6. He's going to pick up the bishop so that A7 falls.
Yup.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to come in on Saturday. Bill Lundberg here. Hi. Almost 17,000 with us on Twitch. I haven't checked on YouTube. Thanks for being with us on this. What day is it?
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. Okay, so we got Title Tuesdays running in the background.
Mm-hmm. Don't know who won the first one.
Don't know who the first one. Twist ending, probably Hikaru.
I think Hikaru was actually struggling this time, which I know these words are just don't roll off the tongue at all because you never say that, but this is like 1 in a million.
Okay, but Queen C2 does keep the C6 pawn, on notice for a little bit longer, but of course Magnus can just play Rook C8 and we're back to variations where we can take and win the pawn if we want. But you got to be patient, I think, and also let's remember, maybe you don't even need that pawn to start advancing. I was just going to say, if you get the bishop out of the way, push him, baby, push him, baby.
Push him, baby, indeed. And you can just see the eval bar continuing to drop and drop. And Fabi has not whipped up any counterplay on the king side. He goes back to the queen side, and he's clinging to the pawn on A7 like someone clinging to a piece of jetsam in the ocean. I mean, the moment that pawn disappears, you get washed away by the waves. And
Yep.
I think that's exactly what's about to happen.
The rook comes to a1. The queen will swing herself over. Okay, maybe b7 or d7 first. I guess you got to hold the pawn. But
Yep.
is there even a threat of discovery here? I guess he decides to go to b7.
Yeah, it's more that you needed to defend the pawn.
Yep.
And knight d4, c5. Of course, you didn't want to take on d4 because then the e-pawn would reposition to d4 and slow down the progress of black's pawns.
And note that white didn't want to take. Black would happily have taken but the pawn. They're reinforcing this massive pawn center. And it's a tough position currently for white. 45 minutes left in the 3-minute portion. What can Fabio do to break the spell?
Rook
change the momentum.
Oh, Magnus just doesn't blunder anything. No, rook takes d5 was such a hidden threat, and he saw that instantly. I mean, it plays rook e8, and he just constricts you, and he strangles you. And Fabio has to try to go after that d5 pawn somehow. Maybe takes in queen f5 can be considered.
Yeah. Okay. These pawns are... You're threatening to play b4 in a lot of positions, and this bishop is actually trapped. Okay, so Fabio fixes that problem. But here come the pawns.
Oh, no.
Too much.
c3. Magnus ignores d5. I don't know if you should have done that. Knight c7 there might have been a little more safe.
Time has become a factor here. It was just a clinic, but now we're in a bit of a scramble. Blunders are possible. They do happen. Magnus is human. What can happen now?
Well, if you play c2, you allow bishop to b2. We saw a similar scenario in an Aronian Hikaru game yesterday. Hikaru had these menacing pawns, but they're actually hard to promote. So can Carlsen...
Hikaru actually came back and won that game with all the pawns versus the rook. That was crazy.
Oh, queen a6 is clinical. Queen trade allows these pawns to get moving again.
Yeah. Forcing the ladies off the board. Put the bishop... Okay, wait.
Rook b1!
What?
Rook b1!
Oh my gosh.
Forgot about bishop.
He's got 1 second. Oh, I forgot about his clock.
Oh my god, and now Caruana's in the driver's seat.
But bishop takes c3. He's giving it back just to get rid of the pawns. Practical chess makes sense here.
Still winning chances for black, though, because of the weakness of the dark squares. King g7, and look at Carlsen driving the pawn down h4, not missing a beat. What was he just doing?
What was he doing with e5? Fabio looks frustrated. He's
I mean, he's losing. He's lost his mind. f5 was winning the rook there.
Yeah, he just looks totally dejected with his position.
Oh my god, Danny, g2 won the rook. Oh my god, what's happening here? Oh my lands, this is a draw
3 seconds, 1 second.
Oh my god, Carlsen might lose.
Knight f4, king g3, king g4. Oh my god, Fabio's back in the driver's seat.
Unbelievable. And Carlsen literally had g2 there, winning the rook.
Yeah, winning the rook.
Forcing
the fork. Okay.
One of the few oversights. This is going to be a draw.
Yeah, should be a draw. Okay, unless we get a blunder by Fabio and we see a knight bishop checkmate. Okay, I was going to say he can sacrifice the rook and get a draw anytime. Oh my gosh, shake your